Hello, everyone. Welcome to Touchdown on True Sports. My name is Chantel Alicia, and I'm going to be your host for today's show. Joining me today are my analysts, Nolan Kangas, Luca Moya, and Stephen Clennon. Today, we're going to talk about some key points from this weekend's past games and what's to come in the upcoming divisional round this weekend. So for starters, let's quickly start by touching on the Indy-Baltimore game. So, Stephen, do you think the way that the Indianapolis Colts move the ball in the passing game will bring up some concerns for this Bills defense moving forward?
So, you know what? The Bills' zone coverage obliterated. They got killed. I'm more concerned about the 164 yards they gave up on the ground in that touchdown. I think that's the scary point for them because in total it was 470 yards against. I'm hopeful it was just the one game, especially with the task they got coming up next.
Okay. And so let's move to the Baltimore-Tennessee game. So, Nolan, do you think the outcome of their win was based on them actually winning or the Titans finding too many ways to lose?
I think this game's on the Titans. You think of Mike Vrabel, it's such a cowardly punt he had, in the Ravens territory, 4th and 2. You got this 250-pound running back who who falls forward every time. Doesn't work. Also, just the play calling. They have to figure out when Derrick Henry isn't cooking. And I know that's what they relied on all season long is, hey, when it gets to the fourth quarter, watch out because, you can't stop them. The Ravens were stopping them all game, right? 18 touches, 40 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. They were playing really well when they were passing the ball and finding A.J. Brown. I think the Titans just found ways to lose in this game, and I think it speaks more volumes than, yes, Lamar played great and the Ravens won, but I thought they would put up more points on this Titans defense, and we didn't see that. So I'll say more credit to the Titans losing.
Okay, yeah, that was definitely a surprising game, not how I thought it was going to go either. So, Luca, the Tampa Bay-Washington game, so Tom Brady and his offense, they look great despite some drops from Chris Goodwin, but in truth, it was the defense that kind of actually looked a little bit shaky against Taylor Heineke. So could this be trouble in New Orleans for the Bucs?
I don't know, guys. There's something telling me that I feel like you're going to be more prepared for this Bucs team because they played Drew Brees twice already. Tyler Heineke, he comes into the game. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to expect. And, man, he played great. He gives them a legitimate shot at starting for them next year. I just think it's the same problem for this Bucs defense. It's that secondary, guys. If Shaquille Barrett and Suh and White and Lamonte David, they're not creating pressure up the middle. That secondary is a big liability. We're going to see how it's going to come against the Saints. It's their third time playing, but I think they're going to be a little bit more prepared just because they haven't seen Heineke and they've already played Brees twice this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, preparation is definitely key for them going forward. So with the LA Rams versus the Seahawks game, so Stephen, Russ just wasn't cooking in the kitchen, as you would explain it. So with John Schneider now being the new GM, how much pressure do you think is on him to improve the team and the offense come 2021?
So I know you guys love me and my analogies. I'm looking at Schneider. This is going to be Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen Seahawks edition, okay? It's going to get super, super high pressure in there right now. But I'm telling you, Schneider, look at it this way. This is really what you need to do. You need to get yourself a new sous chef. I don't know who that sous chef is going to be, but you better figure it out, and you better be able to fix up a couple recipes to have things going good on that offense. After that, you need a dash of a pass rusher. Somebody who can get to the quarterback, because I was watching, and Jared Goff with his wobbly hand that he had, they barely even touched him up, and he was able to do work, and he didn't even look that great out there. They need to find somebody who can get to the quarterback other than your safety from the secondary level who was leading them in sacks the whole season. On top of that, I'm going to need to see a sprinkle of a tight end and running back somewhere in there, a little bit of that tight end and running back powder. You guys had Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's done, let's be honest. You barely gave a shot to Disley, who I think he could have been a great tight end, but you guys really wasted this season for him. And on running back, I like Chris Carson, I like Carlos Hyde, but you guys need to figure this out. Rashad Penny didn't play the whole season. You guys need to get some younger legs in there with him and DJ Dallas and let these guys run. Mix it up a bit more. Get some of the younger guys in there. Other than that, I think you guys need about 600 pounds of offensive beef. Because if you guys offensive line beef, if you don't get that offensive line beef out there and something to protect your quarterback, your chef, man, ain't nobody coming back to that restaurant. But if you do all that, c'est magnifique. Let's do this.
I think what's interesting too, Chris Carson's a free agent and he's a bruiser. Like through the tackles, good running back. What would help this offense a lot more is a pass catching back. And we've never really seen that with Seattle. Yes, Marshawn Lynch could catch the ball out of the backfield, but you want to give him the rock and let him run behind a guard, right? So I would look for this team drafting a running back, not in the first round, but whether it's a Najee Harris, Travis Etienne in that second round, and that would really get this offense exploding. That would be a good move with Schneider. But you're right. They need some help on that O-line as well.
Yeah, no, true. I thought the Seahawks were going to go a little further than what they did, but they're out, so they got to do better. So, Nolan, right back to you. The Chicago-New Orleans game. What's the better side of the ball for the Saints? Is it their offense or defense?
Right now, I actually do think it's their offense. Even though Drew Brees hasn't been able to throw the ball downfield, Mitch Trubisky, if you look at the way he played in this game against a Saints defense, which is really, really good, he was okay. There was a lot of drops. We know the Javon Wims 50-yard perfect pass from Trubisky. Never think I'd say that in my life, but a perfect pass right through the hands. So I think there's ways they can scheme up these offenses, especially Bruce Arians and Tom Brady now really figuring out this offense with all these weapons to find ways to beat this Saints defense. The Saints defense, their biggest hole, in my opinion, even though I think Marshawn Lattimore is extremely overrated, it's in the middle. Tight ends. Jimmy Graham was able to get a few passes. Cole Kmet early. They tried to get him involved. Now you have Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Brate had 4 catches, 80 yards the other night against the Washington football team. I would be more scared of right now the New Orleans offense with Michael Thomas back and Alvin Kamara than this defense, which in the postseason we've seen has crumbled in moments.
Okay, true there. So Luca, with the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game, you said the Pits were going to blow out Cleveland.
Yeah.
So why do you think the Browns were so successful, especially in the first half?
The Browns is the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns. You know, a lot of great faces there. But you know what, Chantel, it's very easy to dissect this game. Pittsburgh gave it to Cleveland, and they took advantage of it. They weren't kicking field goals. They were getting touchdowns. And this brought me back to a game I remember really, really well. It's NFC Championship game, guys, if you can remember, in 2014. Green Bay had chances and chances to put that game away, and Seattle came away late, and that's what evidently kicked them out of the playoffs. This is that same game, but Cleveland, instead of taking field goals, they got touchdowns, of course. The first one, it was a gimme. But from there, you give that defense, I don't care how good your defense is, you put them in a position where they're already in your territory, 28 points, and it seemed like the first 10 minutes. That's how big that score was. They were scoring touchdowns, not field goals, and that's the big reason why they won this game. They just took advantage of the mistakes that the Steelers made.
Yeah, and that was definitely a surprise win. Like, they were winning by a long shot that whole game. I know Pittsburgh kind of caught up near the end, but there was no way Pittsburgh had it in them to then take over.